financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is disability mandates debt and tax relief. Says me. Brian Small, good morning.
Good morning. Wow, that's a long title for a
Jeff
topic.
Linden, good morning. Jeffrey Kirshner, Disability Man.
Hi, Ken. I actually like the title.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
Brian.
All right, so
Disability Man. Wait, do you have like does your shirt pop open and you have like a big D instead of like an S for Superman?
No, it's
a K. Disability Man?
It's not TV worthy. Let's just put
well,
it
you
that
have
way.
one that says debt relief, don't you?
No, I am not a debt relief agent. That goes way back to
Does that still exist?
the law still exists
Nobody's talking about it anymore.
because it was the most ridiculous cockamamie thing on the planet.
You used to have to put it in every commercial. You still technically
Yeah,
do?
you still technically
I don't,
do.
really don't. Anything new in the disability world to share with us?
Well, things are going actually fairly well. You know, we got a little bit of an increase over the past year in terms of benefits for people. Now the average is up to about $13.60 a month, which doesn't sound great, but it keeps progressively increasing. So that's a nice thing. With regard to, you were going to say something.
I was going to say, that's the thing that strikes me the most. And I've got some, I found in the website, on the government site, some interesting facts that I want to share. But the one that always strikes me the most is, and that ties to this need for debt relief and tax relief, is if you're disabled and you get the benefit of the disability, it's still a modest amount of money in contrast to the amount of money you need to live and the amount of money you were likely earning prior to becoming disabled. I feel so lost for people in that circumstance.
Yes.
And I feel bad for people in that
So it's a
circumstance.
fallacy to think that people want to be on these benefits. You do so much better working, making
Yeah.
money, getting your own health insurance, things of that nature. Truly, it's for people who really just can't work. So, you know, people, you hear all the time, they're faking it, they just want to be on Social Security. No one wants to be on
In fact,
Social
that's one
Security.
of the facts in here. Well, let's run through them. So, Social Security disability insurance is coverage that workers earn.
Correct.
So the point there is,
Well, there is Social Security that people earn, but there's also supplemental security income we can also talk about too. But that's
even less money, right?
it's less money, and the rules are even harsher. That would really frustrate anyone who heard what I had to say about it.
Okay. The site goes and says Social Security Act defines disability very strictly.
Yes.
So you've got this. What are the key conditions?
Well, you have to first of all not be able to do what's called your past relevant work, which is work that you've done over the past 15 years. Then you have to establish that there aren't other jobs that exist in a significant amount in the economy that you could still perform. It's irrelevant if the jobs that they think you could perform aren't available, aren't even close to your house, don't pay what you used to get paid based on what you had been earning in the past 15 years.
And the condition has to be so severe that it would either be you can't work for at least a year or will result in death?
Correct, that it has to result in a year. You have to be either disabled for a year, or when they look at your case, if you haven't been off of work for a year, that the anticipated duration of your disability is 12 months or longer.
Right. Check out this one. Disability is unpredictable and can happen to anyone at any age. And the site goes on to say, sobering fact for 20-year-olds is that more than 1 in 4 of them will become disabled before reaching the retirement age. Isn't that scary?
Oh, it's certainly frightening, and Social Security, though, doesn't make it easier, although certain things are getting better in Social Security. The rate keeps going up. They actually are streamlining the process a little bit better, so it's taking less time from your initial application and that level to the reconsideration level to actually having a hearing, that whole timeline has shrunk, and that's a very good thing. The bad thing, though, is that the laws have become stricter. They've taken away certain laws that helped people over the years, and so they've become more difficult in terms of getting Social Security disability.
Social Security disability, when you think of Social Security disability, the average person is thinking, oh, it's somebody in their 50s, in their 60s, they were working and then they were unable to work. They fell off a ladder, they can't paint anymore, they got in an automobile accident and they can't work anymore. But what about the 21-year-old that falls off the ladder and can't work anymore? He's only got a year, 2 years worth of work, doesn't meet the standard. What is it? Isn't it like 20 of the last 40 quarters or something
Well,
like
but
that?
they reduce it once you hit age 18. Actually, that is reduced in terms of meeting that criteria. So they have figured out a way for people that couldn't have, impossible for them to earn enough credits based
They were
purely on their
working,
age.
but they couldn't.
Correct.
But
It's a-
okay, so that's great, but what type of money do they get? They come out, you got a guy who comes out of college, he's in his first year of work, he's making $100,000 a year in the world of finance, and suddenly some event causes him to be disabled. Does he get the maximum Social Security that he would have gotten, or does he get stuck with like $1,360?
No, he wouldn't get stuck with, well, 1,300 is the average. There are people that
About
make
1360.
less. But no, I don't think in a case like that, he would probably reach the maximum, which this year, it's a little over $3,600 is the
I
maximum
mean,
for
keep
Social
keep
Security.
the whole thing in mind. 3,600 is the maximum, which is what your maximum retirement benefit is. Also, if you claim at full retirement age, that's not enough money. It helps if you're up at the 3,600 number, you have a shot. But if you're in the $1,300 range, rent costs more than $1,300.
Everything costs more than
basically,
$1,300.
the 2018 poverty level was $12,140 annually. So that goes to that modest amount. And the other one is, the number of people that are qualifying for Social Security is increasing. A lot of it's the baby boomers. They increased over the 60 years. But one of the things that, this idea that 1 in 4 adults have some type of disability, according to the CDC. To me, that's kind of shocking that disability is that rampant. That's scary.
No, you had even COVID now that added to it, other conditions now that are limiting people. So
let's take a break. We're going to come back. We'll do a case study and kind of put these facts in the context of John and his landscaping business.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
I was married for 57 years before my husband died.
Simasco Law had established a trust for them before this happened.
There's so much to do in the beginning, but after about a month, you're kind of alone.
We deal with estate planning and trusts every day.
If you continue to have good support and know that your finances and your estate is in order, that's one thing that's so comforting. I would just highly recommend some Masco Law.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, so let's do a case study. John is 53 years old. He owns John Landscaping. 3 employees. He was making $100,000 a year. He was always behind in his taxes, self-employed, and he's been always struggling with credit card debt. But he was still living the life. He suffers an accident. December 2022, on vacation, waterboarding off the coast of Florida on vacation.
Water.
Wait a minute. So he was waterboarding himself, or he was the victim of waterboarding because he's some foreign agent?
He was like, what's it called?
Why do we have this?
He wasn't surfing. Well, okay,
Why do we have this CIA involved? Is Guantanamo Bay involved too?
Well, it is off the coast.
We can't talk about that.
I know. I was going to say.
The reason why
Headed to Cuba now.
All right, let me explain it. Let me explain to those people that are watching. The reason why I put waterboarding here is because when I think of you, and I think of you, and I think of you,
No, not me.
and in terms of getting you to comply with what I want sometimes in the course of the outline, how
See
I
where
could
he's going
gain-
with this.
How I could gain compliance would
Through-
be
through
by
waterboarding?
waterboarding threats.
Don't quit your day job.
Okay. So but I think I meant water surfing. Okay. Anyway, he got hurt badly. He's not going to be able to do anything. He's basically can't walk, cognitively impaired because he was under the water for a long period of time. All of his employees have quit. Here's his problem. He's got $85,000 in tax debt. His credit card debt is $140,000 and still growing. He's got $10,000 in cash, 0 income. What do we do? What do we do from a disability standpoint?
We get him on disability benefits. That's easy. Our show's over. Done.
So, the question: if John is so bad that he's lacking capacity to even sign documents, what do you do then?
We usually have a family member be assigned as his guardian, and we go through them and we use them to file the claim through. And
So in
help
other
us
words,
with the process.
First step is a probate case to get guardianship and conservatorship.
Correct. And usually more times than not, in a scenario like that, if they are unable to care for themselves, and certainly from a cognitive standpoint, by the time they've gotten to me, they've typically gone to a probate attorney to take power over that individual.
So this type of case, with this scenario, this is a slam dunk to get him disability.
There's no such animal as a slam dunk. I hate to say that, and that's a frustrating part about Social Security. No, but this sounds like a good case. This is a gentleman who's in his 50s, who probably has at most a high school education, certainly can't go back and do any landscaping. He's been a landscaper for years, so certainly can't go back and do his past relevant work. And if he just has a high school education, that doesn't permit him, education-wise, to transfer any other skilled labor.
I want to change the
Suppose
facts.
it's a continuum. Yeah,
I want to change the facts.
Make him more skilled.
In this case, he can still walk. He's still physically able.
He's using a cane.
Okay.
But
Can't
his,
do landscaping.
His cognitive abilities have been reduced, and now he has the mental state of a 13-year-old.
Sure.
He's no longer good at addition.
Okay. So, yes.
But he has some addiction problems.
Unlike some other cases, like a personal injury case where you're fighting over somebody just for the injury that was caused by a specific accident per se, in Social Security, any and all conditions are fair game, whether it be physical, cognitive, psychological. Also, what's fair game in Social Security are side effects from prescription medications that were prescribed to you by a doctor. If you take medications, a lot of times pain medications, some psychiatric medications
Well, suppose John
cause
can,
issues.
he can't do landscaping.
Sure.
But he could do menial tasks and work, and he could make, he was making $100,000 a year. He can qualify and get a job making $30,000 a year.
So a couple
just doing, working in a grocery store packing groceries or
Okay.
doing stock work.
So that's possible that he may not be found to be disabled, except that we don't look at, first of all, it's a fallacy to look at what you made compared to what you can make now. It's irrelevant to the federal government in terms of your earnings. So that's never an issue.
Never an issue.
The issue, though, is whether or not you can work full-time in doing a job that only allows you a break of about 15 minutes in the morning, half-hour break at lunch, and 15 minutes in the afternoon. So you have to be on task.
So if
say
his
90%
condition
of
is
the-
such that he could work, but he couldn't work full-time.
Correct. That would preclude it. If he has to lay down throughout the day, take naps throughout the day, that's something that's to be considered. If you have to continuously miss 2 or more days of work per month, that's another factor to be considered with regard to whether or not somebody is employable. So there's a lot of other factors that go
So that's
into
why
this.
when you come back to it, if you're completely comatose and out of it, and you have to have a guardian, that's probably much more straightforward and easier to process. But short of that, there's a zillion issues.
There are a lot of different issues, and that's why you should usually use an attorney that's experienced doing these cases to think about outside of the box, think about all these other ailments, all these limitations that you have that one wouldn't commonly think of when you think of just a simple injury.
So here's a question. So John was making $100,000 a year. You go ahead and you get him approved for Social Security disability. Now,
What's he going to get?
Let's assume $2,100.
okay, so he's going to get
Ballpark-ish.
$2,100. Can John get any sort of job? Can he make any money on top of it? Maybe he can't physically do what he was doing, but can he earn money babysitting his grandchildren?
So there's two things that come into play. First of all, it's called the trial work period. When somebody is found to be disabled, the government allows you 9 months within a 60-month window. So 9 months within 5 years. It's called trial work. You can earn to your heart's content. You can make millions upon millions of dollars and not have it impact the
For
amount
those
of money
9
you
months.
get. Right. Not have it impact the amount of money you get per month, and not have it impact the determination that you are disabled. After those 9 months, you've used those up, then you can only earn up to, for 2023, $1,470 per month. That's called substantial gainful activity.
Per month, so you can
SGA.
make $1,400 a month. Question: if John wins the lotto and wins $5 million, does that make him ineligible for Social Security?
Not for
disability?
SSD. For SSI it will, because that's need-based, and you can only have, besides a place to live and a vehicle, if you're single, $2,000. If you're married,
But
joint
for his-
that's $3,000.
but
If
for
you're on
his
Social
SSD.
Security disability, it's irrelevant how much passive income you have. Even if you become disabled and had a ton of money beforehand, it's irrelevant to the equation.
So if
Let's
John
take a break.
owns-
We're going to take a break and have to pay some bills. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how we get rid of his debt.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We were just spinning. We just didn't know what was going to happen next.
At Samasco Law, we deal with these issues every day, especially elder law. Pat went to work for Fran.
Patrick was there holding my hand, kept saying, "We'll get through this, we'll get through this."
He got her husband Medicaid and in a nursing home. Samasco Law got the success they deserved.
Samasco Law is definitely family to me. I really appreciate knowing all of you.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Time for announcements. Remember, you can always come in for a free consultation. Just call 888-235-HELP or go online and sign up. Debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business issues, elder law issues with Pat, disability issues with Jeff. Sign up at lawandreality.com or call 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-4357. Also, go online to our website to get our free reports. Resolving tax problems, the real solutions. Bankruptcy, is it right for me? How to save your home from foreclosure. Business formations, loans, and grants for small businesses in Detroit and Michigan. And the Retiree's Guide to Social Security. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Samasco Law, Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
All right, so we're back. All right, so John's obviously got a problem. Jeff's going to get him Social Security disability. What are you going to get him? $1,400 a month?
Let's say $1,600, $1,800 a month.
He's got to live on that. What are you going to do about his credit card debt? What are you going to do about his tax debt?
So the credit card debt and tax debt should be looked at together, because the tax debt, I'm assuming if it's income tax.
It's income tax.
So income tax debt, of course, is dischargeable in bankruptcy at some point, as long as you filed your taxes on time, they came due more than 3 years ago, and a few other factors. But the key here is Jeff and I are going to look at whether or not John should do a bankruptcy to get rid of his tax debt, because a bankruptcy is going to get rid of his credit
So
card
you're going to
debt.
work together
Yeah.
with each other. So, and because you work together, that makes me pleased, and therefore I can keep the water board out of the picture.
Yes.
Good. Okay,
The
go on.
key here is how much money John is going to get in retroactive benefits from Social Security. Because when you file for bankruptcy, there's only so much stuff you can protect, so much money you can protect.
When you say retroactive benefits, what does he mean? What is he talking about?
So when you're found to be disabled, they give you what's called a disability onset date. From that date, for the first 5 months from the disability onset date, you're not entitled to any benefits. The 6th month following your disability onset date, going forward, you're entitled to your benefits. When you file a claim, the law allows you to reach back up to a maximum of 1 year prior to the filing date of your application to get any past due benefits. So you could get up to a year's worth of benefits, depending also on what your disability onset date is.
Right, a year's,
and then,
and all the time that accrued until you get approved.
Correct. So it could be 2 years worth of.
So that's like $18,000.
Well,
it could be even more.
It could be. I just had a client. It was over $60,000 because it took
a
almost
long time to get approved.
It took almost 2 years.
Yeah,
correct.
Okay, so that's what you're referring to.
Because I can protect all of what you're entitled to if I file the bankruptcy before
you get the money.
You get the money. Can't protect it all if you've already received the money. But the balancing act is, when are the taxes dischargeable, and how can Jeff get rid of the taxes?
So you want to wait as long as you can, but you want to file before Jeff delivers the big check.
100% correct, because you want to get those taxes dischargeable. It's, again, a balancing act.
All right, so let's say, what about the credit card debt? Is that like a no-brainer?
It's absolutely a no-brainer.
So
it goes away in Chapter 7.
During this period between now and filing the bankruptcy, should John or John's family pay any of those existing credit cards or tax bills?
No. Not ever.
Absolutely not. They should use the money for essential expenses.
Yes.
Important to know that, because people have a tendency to want to pay a bill if they have money in the bank to pay it. And that's a big mistake here. So you don't pay the credit cards, you don't pay the taxes. If you can't wait long enough to discharge all the taxes, you're still going to file the bankruptcy?
Absolutely, because it's going to get rid of the $140,000 and
then
growing
what do you do about
card
the
debt.
taxes?
So I read the problem a little differently because of his employment history and work history. I thought, we didn't specify, but if the tax debt, let's say it's not just income tax, let's say it's payroll taxes he was behind and struggling with. If they were payroll taxes, that debt wouldn't be dischargeable in bankruptcy anyway, no matter what the time worked out. In his situation, we would look at, he would probably qualify for an offer in compromise, which you get to settle the debt. It's a formula that's based on what you own and what you earn. Doesn't matter how much you own,
right.
and he doesn't own much.
No earnings.
So or currently not collectible status, which is a similar
For
financial
sure
formula.
he qualifies for that because he's got zero income.
Right, but will there be another problem too? Because if he gets a lump sum of cash, then that affects his financial analysis.
So
that's a timing issue. We would want to get him an offer in compromise approved or not
before he gets the
collectible
money?
status before he gets the money. Because
So
then that
two
money
events
counts.
need to occur before he gets the money.
Yeah.
The bankruptcy and the currently not collectible, if he's got non-dischargeable taxes.
Correct.
What a concept. You have to work together, use more than one tool in the toolbox to solve John's problem. None of it is as easy as it seems.
But the biggest problem is after you've gotten rid of his debt and he's got $1,600 a month coming in on Social Security, is how is he going to sustain himself going forward? That will be a topic for another show. Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.